Today we're going to start the process of replacing all of the rubber seals for all of our bay doors. Now we knew, like when we first bought the bus, that those all needed to be replaced. They were starting to tear in places and they're all cracked. Well, this door finally gave way and it is completely ripped all the way across. So there's really nothing holding this door on. If I open this door, the whole thing would just fall off. So these rubber pieces actually are both a seal and a hinge. They serve both functions. But we're gonna do it a little bit differently when we replace it. Because we put the gas struts on all of these bay doors, it just adds so much pressure to the hinge of the door that often these rubber hinge slash seals, they don't last as long because so much pressure is being put on the door. So they now make stainless steel hinges that you put just on each end to relieve the pressure, and then you put the rubber hinge and seal in between those two hinges. So the rubber piece is no longer acting as the hinge alone. It's kind of main purpose now is just going to be to seal the door, and the stainless steel hinges will be doing most of the work. So we're gonna try and figure out how to do this. We've watched lots of videos, we've talked to a bunch of people that have done this before, and it's not always the easiest job, but we're gonna just give it a go and see what we're working with here.
Alright, so we try to remove this door. We know that this one is completely ripped because at paint it got completely torn off, so we just need to, whoop, there it goes, take it off. So it comes off. So there's the hinge there, which is completely separated, and then here's the other half up here. So what we got to do is try to figure out how to get it in there, and supposedly there's supposed to be little screws here on the ends. These look like they're missing. That kind of keep the track from walking back and forth. So first job, I think, is to get this out of here, clean it all up, get this one out, clean that all up, and then we'll see how the stainless steel hinges work, and then we'll figure out how to get the rubber ones in. Alright, there's a little tiny screw that was in there. So now it should come right out.
So there's a gap in the middle, huh?
Yeah, there's a gap. There's something.
Is that supposed to be there, or is something broken?
No, I think, no, it looks like it's totally supposed to be there, but I'm assuming that's how you put it in.
Okay.
I think it's nice that it rained. Okay, you can see this is a little bit slippery. Well, we kind of expected to fight with that all day. So that's gone a little better than we thought. We'd heard some nightmare stories about getting these out, and sometimes these will sort of rot in there, and so what happens when they rot in there is that they kind of seal all along the inside there, and it's really hard to get them out. So we've seen where guys have to take a knife and just keep scraping and scraping and scraping. That doesn't appear to be the case with ours. Maybe these were replaced a little more frequently than those, but anyway, so that was nice. That was easy. There is kind of a gap in the middle, and I think maybe you're supposed to do that to slide them in. That's a guess. So anyway, we will work on this next and see if we can figure out how to get that out. So I'm just using the edge of the screwdriver to pinch. Now I have enough, I think, where I can maybe grab it with the pliers. or just my hand. So, I don't know, I thought that was going to be a big fight, so we were ready for a fight, if that's any consolation, but that came out pretty easy. So the fact that there's a little groove in there makes me think that we're to stick the rubber on the bus side first, and then get that all ready, and then move this into position, and then slide the rubber into this channel second. So that's just a guess. That's the way we're probably going to try to do it here. But first we're going to try to figure out these stainless steel hinges and see if we can get those on. Alright, so far so good. We've removed the channel from both of the doors, and that was relatively easy. What we did is we bought some stainless steel hinges from Luke, and these are great because they will take the stress of our shocks and keep the door from ripping. So anyway, the problem is there's only one center channel here. This is how you get the channel in, and this is way too big for that. So what we have to do is we're going to mark this off with a pen, and then we'll open this just with a little Dremel or something. We'll open the back to where we can actually fit this in, and hopefully that'll allow us to slide these all the way to the end. Then we'll drill through, put a set stop, so put a stop in this, so a little tiny screw in there to keep it from going anywhere. We'll do that on both sides. Then we'll put the regular track, we'll put the regular rubber track, and then we'll heap the door up here and try to slide the door on. So we'll see how that goes. We did make some soapy water because we had read on a few of the posts that soapy water helps quite a bit. So we made some Dawn water in a sprayer, so that's what we'll be using. But first, we're going to mark this up, we're going to Dremel it out, and see where we go from there. Let's see. Looks like it's in there.
It's kind of at a crooked angle.
Yeah.
There we go. Nice.
So that slid in pretty easy. So the instructions say that the curved edge is supposed to be on the outside like that. So, and it looks like this does have a full range of motion. So the next step, they said, pull it back about 1/4 inch from the side, and then we'll drill a pilot hole through so that we can keep it from sliding around.
Okay, so Bailey's is gonna clean out the channel on the door. Or Bailey's, why don't you go ahead and squirt, like do a bigger section at a time. Okay, you can like spray it all the way down. So she's just gonna squirt some of that soapy water in there and get it cleaned out for us.
Done.
Now give me your best smile.
In the right place?
Yeah, it hasn't moved.
Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it looks like we've got it in. We got the screw in, and it's locked into place. That's not going anywhere. It looks like we have about 1/4 inch, which is what the instructions say, from the edge. So I think we're gonna call that one good and work on this next one. All right, that's it. We're about, so we measured a piece. We've got our 2 in the side, and I'm gonna go ahead and lube it up with some just soapy water. And hopefully it will slide right in. Yep, it's going right in there. All right, so now we'll get on this side. See if we can make this one go. All right, come on. Okay. All right, so a couple more holes to hold this in place, and we should be good to go. So I've slid this out and I've drilled through that, so now we've just got to throw a screw in there, and then we'll do the same for the other side. So I'll go ahead and slide this back. Okay. Okay. Should I tilt up?
Yeah, I think so.
More?
Okay, that's in. Yeah, I don't know how to pull it down. It's like, it's not gonna catch all the way.
Okay.
I mean, you can push it, but it's... Nope, it's pulling. It's still pulling.
Well, most of this has gone pretty smoothly, except for you can see the difference in height here between the hinge and this rubber piece. So we've got that is giving us a bunch of problems because it's so much higher than this that it keeps binding up. So we've screwed it and secured it in, but it just keeps pulling the bottom. So what we're going to do is have Dominic try to pull this down with some pliers while we try to get it on there. So we'll see if that works. Alright, so we're going to try sliding the door onto the rubber, sliding it all the way to here, sliding a little bit past that, sliding that hinge back on, see if that works. It's kind of a long shot, so we'll see. What I can do is try to pull this whole door out.
Oh, you want me to come around and...
Have you push in there that way. Yep.
Yeah, it needs to come down more. More. No, not the door. Like out.
Oh.
A little more. Now push. Now push in towards me.
All right, so we tried and tried and tried for like probably a couple hours, maybe 3 hours to get that rubber to fit, and it won't fit. We couldn't pull it. None of that worked. So plan B. I don't think there's been a single project where we haven't had a plan B. So plan B is we have a bunch of this rubber stuff, and it is we used it to line the water bay So we used it for the flooring in the water bay, and it's fairly thick. I think is it an eighth? It's an eighth of an inch thick, and we've got like a big giant roll of it. So what we did is we cut a piece about an inch long, and then what we do is we just tuck it in, because this hinge doesn't have to be water, or doesn't have to bear the load anymore. These stainless steel hinges will bear the load. So this is just literally keeping water and dust out. So what we do is we cut this piece, and then we just kind of slid it into the channel and just work it in. And after just a little bit, we were able to get a nice solid rubber seal. So there it is. All right, so we cut a piece of rubber and we're gonna give it a try. That fits really tight, so I think that will keep water out as good as the original. Water and dust. Alright, so we're gonna pull.
Butter.
Alright. After you clean out that track.
Can I help?
So spray water all in there. Get that toothbrush and clean that all out in there.
Don't you want me to? Don't we do what we did before on it with the screwdriver?
Yep.
The grabber flathead?
Yeah. Alright, good. Is that good?
I think so.
Okay, drop it. And by drop it, I mean let it down slowly and gently. Perfect. All right, so a couple things that we found that made getting these doors a little bit easier, especially on these really great big ones, is make sure the track is completely clean. So we scrubbed out with like a little wire brush. We scrubbed everything out to make sure the track was completely clean. Also, the other thing is we just use these little plastic, they're like for changing tires on a bicycle, and it helps to just save your fingers. So you just put them in here, and then instead of using your fingers, you can just use that to get it into the seam. So, and then we've taped up the thing just to kind of hold it in place. So that one's getting ready to be done there. Other than that, it's gone pretty smoothly, surprisingly. All right, so it's been a couple of months actually since we've done the hinge and rubber treatment on the doors. And when we first posted that online, because we had posted in some bus groups on Facebook about what we were doing and how we were doing it, and we actually, with that video where we show how we couldn't get the hinge on, and we finally ended up going with this rubber piece. Well, after about a month or so, the rubber actually started cracking, and we thought this was UV resistant. Clearly it's not. If you look really close, you can see where it's already cracking and just isn't doing very well at all. And so what we've done now is we've researched, like, hey, what kind of rubber actually holds up to UV? And it turns out the rubber is called EPDM rubber, and it's It's this stuff here, and it looks quite a bit different. So this is stuff we already had on hand, and it did work well, and it did seal the bay and everything. It just isn't resistant to UV. So the stuff that we got from Luke looks much more like the EDPM stuff, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what it is. And so that stuff is held up very well. The funny thing is we were smelling them, and I know you can't smell over the camera or anything, but this kind of smells like a toy football or something, and this smells like a tire. So like when you get brand new tires and it's like that new tire smell, that's what this smells like. Anyway, we were able to find this on Amazon. We'll provide the link down below like we always do and in the blog post. But this is about the perfect size. So we had cut these to 1 1/8 inch wide, and this band comes, this is 1 1/4, and it turns out 1 1/4 fits perfectly. And they are 1/8 of an inch thick, just like this one was. And so I think it's going to work out quite well. We've already tried it on one, and we did this first one over here just so that we wouldn't, you know, do the video and then be like, oh yeah, actually it doesn't work. So this is one we've already done, and you can see the difference. There's no signs of cracking at all, and it just fits right in there, and it looks, that, you know, another benefit is it looks, this is the original hinge rubber here, and it looks just like it. So it's actually a better match. So this stuff here was starting to crack, and in a few places it was actually already starting to rip. So whoever was on Facebook that said, hey, I don't think that rubber is UV resistant, was 100% correct. This is not UV resistant. But this EDPM or EPDM, after some length of research, this should be very UV resistant. So we're gonna go ahead and replace all the rubber. We bought this roll on Amazon. It wasn't terribly expensive, so I'll put a link down below and you can check it out. But that's gonna finish off. We're now officially gonna call the bay doors finished. So we were waiting to release the video to be sure that this rubber would work out. It was waterproof, but it just didn't hold up. So we water tested this as well, and this is also very waterproof, so it should do exactly what we need in the base. So that's gonna mark the end of this video. So we'll see you on the next one.